I've got quite a bit to do today. One is to make some chicken noodle soup for a sick family member. The other is to make some peach jam. I picked up some peaches at Kroger the other day, and I decided on the spot to make some peach jam and to freeze some. And then I also have an unboxing that I want to share with you. I've got a 5 cubic foot space-saving Newair freezer in military green that I want you to see. I've been bringing in quite a bit of fruits and vegetables, so my husband and I have been competing for space. So I guess with all that to do, I better get it started. I prepped the peaches off camera by washing them, blanching them, and then dropping them in an ice water bath and then peeling them. And I did not save the peelings from this particular batch of peaches, whereas I normally will save my fruit scraps to make broth or syrup later. I didn't save this batch because I felt like I already had enough. This peach jam that I'm making is the microwavable peach jam with orange liqueur. And it took 3 cups of chopped fresh peaches, 2 cups of granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and 2 tablespoons of orange liqueur, which instead of using that, I used 2 tablespoons of orange juice with a half a teaspoon of orange extract to stimulate the orange liqueur. And it was pretty simple to make since it was a microwavable recipe. However, the hardest part was the microwave, because one of the things that I know about things that go in the microwave is that they can tend to bubble up and bubble over if you don't keep a close eye on it. Maybe I didn't have a dish that was deep enough, but I had to keep a close eye on that so that it didn't bubble over. So once that was all done, it was time for me to put them into the jars. And I had my hot jar sitting in my fresh tack canner. I ladled the peach jam into the jars, and it was supposed to make 2 cups, and I ended up with 3 cups, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And as always, when I'm canning, I will run a debubbler around the jars to try to get any bubbles that may be in there to rise to the top. And then I wipe the rims with vinegar. And then I'll put on new clean lids. Once the lids are on, I'll twist on the bands just finger tight. So now it's in my fresh tack water bath canner, and it will process for about 10 minutes. The jars of peach jam turned out beautifully. I will set them aside and let them sit undisturbed for 12 to 24 hours. And now to unbox my Newair 5 cubic foot military green freezer. I was so excited to get it, and my husband was even more excited than I was because he was planning to commandeer the freezer for his fish. You can see it's pretty lightweight. He's able to move that pretty much without too much trouble. And it fits into small spaces. One of the things that we always make sure we do is read the user's manual, because it gives you all the safety instructions and best practices, one of which is to plug the freezer in and let it sit for 24 hours before you put anything in it. Well, it's been 24 hours and now we're ready to fill the freezer. And this particular freezer is part of our prep. So as I always say, I'm married to the big fisherman of the Midwest. So he starts fishing in the spring, the summer, and early fall to prepare for the coming winter. And this is the freezer that we are going to put his fish in. And if I can get away with it, I might put in a couple of chickens. We'll see. But one of the things I plan to do is organize the freezer with these baskets. And this will just help us to be able to get out the things that we need a lot easier. And these are just simple baskets, inexpensive. I picked them up at Walmart and they carry these year round, but they fit in there nicely. And The nice thing about these baskets is they've got these little lips on them like that. And then you can just put them over, and then you can stack. And then you can stack the baskets. So I can stack them this way in the freezer. And this is probably a good time just to tell you a little bit more about the freezer and to thank Newair for making us a part of the Newair family. This is the 5 cubic foot chest freezer, and it is in military green. I always like to call it marine green because so many of the things that my husband likes to wear or that he brings into our home are in marine green or some kind of nature color. So this one is perfect for us. And you can see here on top, you've got like a little LCD panel that shows the temperature that the freezer is at. And then you can raise the temperature up or down with these two little arrows here on the side. And of course you can also lock it so that a kid can't come along, be fiddling around with the buttons and change the temp. So that's a good thing. And then one of the nice things about this freezer is that when you open it up, you've got this light right here that comes on and you're able to see what's inside the freezer. And you can see the baskets will fit down in here like this. I can put them this way. Or I can put it this way, but I think I'm going to put it that way. So we unpack the fish from another overfilled freezer and put them into a cooler in preparation for storing them in the new freezer. So the fish are vacuum sealed in individual portions, and then he will store 2 or 3 individual bags of fish into a larger storage bag. That way he can keep track of what catch the fish was from, what date is from, so that he makes sure he gets the oldest out first. These little baskets fit perfectly, and I'm able to store them 3 deep. I could probably even put in one more. The handy little wire basket on the side just makes it easy to put in some things that I want to grab pretty quickly. My hands started to get pretty cold, so I did put on some gloves to finish this up. And here are some of the peaches that I've set aside for later. These will taste great in cobbler or pie at holiday time. So we've got our Newair 5 cubic foot freezer in the military green, packed and ready for winter. And we've even got more space to add more things. And like I said earlier, I'm married to the big fisherman of the Midwest. Your husband might be a hunter or do something else to help bring in the preps to make sure that your family is food secure. Tell me in the comment section below what your husband or what your partner does to help you prep your pantry for the winter. And once again, I want to thank Newair for making us a part of the Newair family. And be sure to check out my exclusive link and the discount code so that you can get a Newair 5 cubic foot freezer for your family at 10% off. I'll put the links on the screen, and I'll also put them in the description box. So now it's time to make my soup, and the first thing I'm going to do is prep my veggies. That means I'm going to give them a good scrub. And then peel them, and I like to put a plate in the sink so that when I peel them I can just drop the peelings right in the plate, and then I'm going to save those peelings later for broth. I've got a bag started that's pretty full, so I'm probably going to have to start another one. I like to boil my noodles in chicken broth. It just gives them a nice flavor. So rather than using water when I'm making chicken noodle soup, I'll use chicken broth, and then that broth will also end up in the soup. Another thing I like to do is to crunch up the noodles just a little bit. I don't like large noodles in the soup, so I just give them a little crumble, and it just works out nicely. While the noodles are cooking, I get the chicken started. I'll season it with a little thyme, some salt and pepper, and I've also got a bottle of roasted garlic seasoning that I like to put in. All of these seasonings just go beautifully with chicken. Once the chicken's done, I'll add my veggies, and I'll let them cook until the veggies are tender. In the meantime, I check the noodles to see if they're al dente. I like them to be a little bit chewy when they go in the pot with the chicken and the veggies because as it continues to simmer, the noodles will get a bit softer. So now the noodles and broth go in with the chicken and veggies. And if I don't think I have enough broth, then I'll add another carton of chicken broth. I let that simmer for about another 10 minutes, and then I plated up some for my husband and I to have for lunch. Then I jarred up some to take to my sick family member. I dropped off the chicken noodle soup to my sick family member, and she was really glad to get it. She loves my chicken noodle soup, and she said it really helps her to feel better when she's feeling under the weather. And you also saw where I was able to sneak in a couple of whole chickens in our Newair military green 5 cubic foot freezer. And I even put in a couple of bags of frozen peaches. Other than that, my husband says the freezer is off limits to me. Well, we'll see. As grocery prices continue to go up, you do want to be able to buy in bulk, to take advantage of seasonal sales, and then to can and freeze what you grow. So this compact freezer can certainly play a role in the food security for your family. Check it out. I've got links on the screen and in the description box. For more homemaking and homekeeping inspiration, click the link on the screen, and I'll see you next time.